Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor Mr. Steve Tamayo in recognition of Native American Heritage Month for his lifetime contributions in the arts and the preservation of Native American culture. Steve's passion has been fueled by the desire to restore what was taken away from the indigenous people of this land. For centuries, cultural teachings have been passed down through art. Symbols, colors, patterns, and construction techniques are narratives that reflect values and beliefs of traditional Native American life. American history is bound in the antiquity of its Native people. We are proud of the role Mr. Tamayo has played, ensuring that we can all learn and appreciate this rich heritage. Steve Tamayo was one of 4 children, raised by loving parents, Fortunato and Beulah Tamayo. As a migrant worker, Fortunato grew up working the fields from Texas to Montana. Notwithstanding this lack of schooling, he was successful in obtaining a job and taking care of his family. Steve describes his mother as a kind and compassionate woman, despite her difficult childhood as a survivor of the American Indian boarding school tragedy. Steve's parents encouraged their children to have a strong work ethic, focus on getting an education, and to pursue the opportunities they were not afforded. After graduating from Thomas Jefferson High School in May of 1984, Steve enlisted in the U.S. Army, serving with the 101st Airborne Division. After returning to Omaha, he sought out Native elders to guide him in his pursuit of cultural knowledge. In 1988, his first teacher was Cleo Frazier from Yankton Sioux Reservation of South Dakota. She resided in the Omaha area and took time to teach Steve and his older brother about indigenous life. This relationship fostered Steve's quest to learn as much as possible about the history and stories of indigenous people. This led him to an elder named Howard Wolf, a World War II veteran from the Umaho tribe of Nebraska. Under Elder Wolf's guidance, Steve learned about art and regalia, including the traditional materials, construction, and the history of surrounding Native American artifacts. In 2000, he moved to the Rosebud Reservation, where he was able to gain a deeper understanding of the art of the Northern Plains tribes. Because of the unique skills and specific knowledge gained, Steve was hired as faculty in the Lakota Studies Department of the Sinte Gluska, where he taught college students for 12 years. In 2005, he became the cultural specialist for the Native American Advocacy Program on the Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota. This was a special time for Steve because he was in a place that was his ancestral homeland of his mother's family. The same year, he was an important point in his professional life. A group of conservators from the Smithsonian Institute stumbled upon him while tanning a buffalo hide in his front yard. 6 months later, he was headed for Washington, D.C. for a 6-month internship. Since that time, Steve has been one of the main consultants from the Plains tribes for the National Museum of the American Indian. He's been part of numerous exhibitions, including an exhibit scheduled to run for 15 years called As We Grow, featuring historic games and toys of the Plains Indians. In 2015, Steve traveled to Washington, D.C. to erect a teepee that he painted on the mall, and he presented it to President Obama, which is now part of the Smithsonian collection. He had the opportunity to paint 2 buffalo robes for Willie Nelson and Neil Young at the Harvest the Hope concert in Neely, Nebraska, to honor them for their work in preserving our Nebraska land. Steve's work has helped to educate our country and about our history, the culture, and the struggles of Native American people. Today, Steve leads study groups in all 4 reservations in Nebraska and the 9 reservations in South Dakota. He travels to schools and museums throughout the country to help train students, docents, conservators, and curators on the significance of traditional Native arts, as well as the dangers of cultural appropriation. Steve is on the Artists in Schools and Communities roster for the Nebraska Arts Council. He serves as the cultural consultant for the Omaha Public Schools Native Indigenous Centered Education Program, and he works as the cultural specialist for the Nebraska Urban Indian Health Coalition. Steve has also been an adjunct instructor for the University of Nebraska-Omaha and the Metropolitan Community College. In 2014, he was honored by Nebraska Governor Dave Heineman at the Nebraska Arts Council Governor's Arts Awards when he was presented the Heritage Award. His proudest moment was when his mother saw him receive that award. Steve has also become a source of pride and empowerment for his children. Of his 6 children, his eldest daughters, twins Nicole and Rebecca, work in the field of Native American advocacy, health, and education. Steve and his wife Susan love their children and their numerous grandchildren. Thank you, Steve, for all your contributions. Because of your work, generations to come will learn about the culture and contributions of the indigenous people. I yield back the remainder of my time.